What if the person you rejected decided to destroy everything you love? What if one moment of rejection triggered a nightmare that would haunt your entire family for years? What if the only way to save them meant losing yourself? This is the story of Isha, a young woman who made one choice that changed her life forever. A choice that would lead her through unimaginable pain, shocking betrayals, and a love that could either save her or destroy her completely. If you love intense stories with shocking plot twists, heartbreaking moments, and endings you never see coming, then you absolutely need to follow this channel. Subscribe now so you don't miss what happens next. What Isha discovers will shock you. What she sacrifices will break you. And the truth at the end will change everything you thought you knew. Are you ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1. What would you do if someone powerful and obsessed with you demanded you surrender your entire future to them? The underground nightclub was thick with smoke and deafening music. Isha sat in a private booth on the top floor, staring at the man across from her. His name was Dmitri Volkov, and he was the most dangerous man she had ever met. He had pale blue eyes that looked like they had seen things that would destroy normal people. His expensive suit was tailored to perfection, but nothing could hide the coldness radiating from him. Dmitri reached across the table and took Isha's hand. She tried to pull away, but his grip was firm, not painful, but clear. This was a man who took what he wanted. "Marry me," he said simply. Not asked. Stated. Isha laughed. She actually laughed. In a room full of dangerous men, she threw her head back and let out a sound of pure mockery. "You're joking," she said, pulling her hand away successfully this time. "I never joke," Dmitri replied, his voice smooth like silk but with an edge that could cut glass. "I have watched you for 3 months. I have studied you. You are perfect. You are exactly what I need. You will be my wife. You will live in a palace. You will have everything your heart desires." Isha stood up from the booth. She smoothed down her dress and looked Dmitri directly in the eyes. Around them, his men went completely silent. Everyone was watching. Everyone was listening. "I would rather die," Isha said coldly. "I would rather be alone forever than spend 1 second with someone like you. You're pathetic. You think money and power make you attractive. All they make you is a sad, lonely man who has to force people to be around him. And that is the most pathetic thing I have ever witnessed." For a moment, nothing happened. The silence in that booth was deafening. Isha's heart was pounding so hard she thought it might explode. She had just insulted one of the most dangerous men in the city in front of his entire crew. Dmitri smiled. It was the coldest, most terrifying smile Isha had ever seen. "You are brave," he said softly. "I like that, but you just made the biggest mistake of your life." He leaned back in his chair and spoke to his men without looking away from her. "Let her go. She will come back to me. They always do when they realize what they have lost." Isha walked out of that nightclub feeling victorious. She thought she had won. She thought he was just another obsessive man with money and no sense. She was wrong. She did not know that Dmitri had already given an order before she even rejected him. She did not know that her father's business was already being targeted. She did not know that her family's life was about to collapse like a house of cards. That night, Isha got a text from an unknown number. It said only, "Day 1. There are 30 more days. Say my name when you beg me for mercy." She stared at the message for a long time. Then she deleted it. She blocked the number. She went to bed thinking this was over. It was not over. It was just beginning. The next morning, Isha woke to her mother screaming downstairs. She rushed down and found her parents huddled together with a letter in her father's hand. His face was pale. His hands were shaking. "Everything is gone," he whispered. "Our business. Our accounts. Everything. It is all gone." Isha felt ice flow through her veins. She thought of that message. She thought of Dmitri's smile. She realized in that moment that she had made a catastrophic mistake. The rejection of a dangerous man was not the end of a story. It was the beginning of a war. Chapter 2. Within 12 hours, the full scope of the disaster became clear. Isha's father's business, which he had built over 30 years, was destroyed. Competitors that seemed to come out of nowhere had moved in with aggressive tactics. They undercut every price. They lured away every client. They spread rumors that the company was involved in fraud. By evening, the business was bankrupt. Her father sat at the kitchen table in silence. He did not cry. He did not rage. He simply sat there, looking like a man whose soul had been removed from his body. Isha's mother stood beside him, running her hands through his hair, her own face creased with fear. We can recover, Isha heard herself say, though she did not believe it. We can start again. We can build something new. Her father did not respond. He simply stared at the table. 2 days later, Isha's younger brother Marco came home from school with a black eye and a broken arm. He stumbled through the front door and collapsed on the couch. Isha rushed to him, her heart in her throat. "What happened?" she cried, examining his injuries. His face was swollen and bruised. His arm hung at an odd angle. "They came in the bathroom," Marco said through split lips. "3 guys. They kept saying your name. They kept asking if you knew who you messed with. They said you were going to regret what you did." The hospital confirmed 2 broken ribs, a fractured arm, and severe bruising. The doctor said he was lucky they did not do worse. Lucky. As if any of this was lucky. While Marco was in the hospital, Isha's mother suffered a stroke. She was rushed to the emergency room while Isha sat in the waiting area, numb with shock. The doctor said it was stress-related. High blood pressure. Tension. All the things that happened when a person's world was collapsing. When Isha was finally allowed to see her mother, she found a woman she barely recognized. Her mother's left side was paralyzed. She could not speak clearly. She could not move her left arm. The doctor said she would recover with time and therapy, but recovery would be slow and uncertain. Isha stood in the hospital room and felt something inside her break. This was not supposed to happen. She was supposed to be past Dmitri. She was supposed to have won by rejecting him. She was so very wrong. That evening, while her mother slept and her father sat in a chair beside the hospital bed looking like a ghost, Isha stepped into the bathroom and opened her phone. Another message had come through. From the same unknown number. Day 3. There are 28 more days. Your family is beautiful. It would be a shame if something happened to the girl next door to your old apartment. She looks young. Maybe 12 years old. Poor thing. Unless you want to meet me and end this. The message included a photo of a child Isha recognized. It was the daughter of the family who lived next to their old apartment. A girl Isha had played with many times. The child was sleeping in her bed. Isha felt her blood turn to ice. This was no longer a threat against her family. This was a threat against innocent children. This was proof that Dmitri could reach anyone, anywhere, at any time. Isha's hands shook as she typed a response. "Where do you want to meet?" The response came back within seconds. "That is more like it. Tomorrow night. The warehouse on 5th Street. Come alone. Come ready to listen. Come ready to negotiate your family's survival." Isha deleted the messages. She looked at herself in the mirror and saw a girl who was about to make a choice that would destroy her life. But her family's survival depended on it. She had no choice. She had never had a choice. Chapter 3. The warehouse on 5th Street was abandoned. Or at least it appeared to be. Isha walked through the broken doors with her heart hammering in her chest. She had called no one. She had told no one. She was completely alone. Dmitri emerged from the shadows like a ghost. He was different from the nightclub. Without the music and the people and the performance, he was just a man. A very dangerous man, but still just a man. "You came," he said, smiling that cold smile again. "I came to make you stop," Isha said, her voice shaking. "I came to make a deal. Whatever you want, I will give it to you. Just stop hurting my family." Dmitri walked around her slowly, studying her like a hunter studying prey. "You have nothing I want. Your money is gone. Your business is gone. Your family has no power. What could you possibly offer me?" "Me," Isha said. "You want me. So take me. But you have to stop the attacks. You have to leave my family alone. You have to promise me that." Dmitri stopped in front of her and tilted his head. "Interesting. But I need insurance. I need something to keep you here, to keep you compliant, to keep you from running away after I release your family. Do you understand?" Isha did not understand. She could only nod. "You will work for me," Dmitri announced. "For 1 year, you will be in my debt. You will do what I say. You will go where I say. You will work as I require. When the year is over, if you have been obedient, I will release your family from all claims. I will restore enough money to get your father back on his feet. I will ensure Marco is left alone. But if you betray me even once, I will destroy them completely. Do we have an agreement?" Isha wanted to refuse. Every part of her wanted to run. But she thought of her mother's paralyzed face. She thought of Marco's broken ribs. She thought of that sleeping child in the photograph. "Yes," she whispered. "We have an agreement." That was the moment Isha ceased to be a free woman and became property. Her first assignment began immediately. She was to be a courier. She would carry illegal money through the city, delivering it to various locations. It was dangerous work. If she was caught, she would go to prison. If she made a mistake, Dmitri's men would ensure she paid the price in blood. 3 weeks into this work, Isha was pulled over by police during a routine traffic stop. She had $500,000 in cash hidden in her car. She was certain she was going to prison. She was certain her life was over. But the police officer let her go. It turned out he was on Dmitri's payroll. Everything was connected. Everything was controlled. Yet that night, Dmitri still punished her. He called her to his penthouse and forced her to watch him destroy her father's remaining savings, money that had somehow survived the initial bankruptcy. He burned it in a fireplace while she screamed and begged him to stop. "You must learn," he said coldly. "You must learn that nothing in your family's life is safe unless I decide it is safe." It was during this time that Isha first noticed Vincent, Dmitri's right-hand man. Vincent was tall and dark-haired with eyes that held ancient sadness. He was always present, always watching. But unlike the other men, Vincent had something they did not have: a conscience. He began making small moves, warning Isha when a delivery was actually a trap, suggesting routes that were safer. Once, he intercepted a direct order from Dmitri to have Isha beaten as punishment, and instead gave her the night off. One night, as Isha was cleaning up after another display of Dmitri's cruelty, Vincent appeared with a phone hidden in a towel. "Your family is safe," he whispered. "I have protected them. You can call them, but only for 3 minutes. Make it count." Isha looked at this man she barely knew and realized he was the first person to show her kindness in weeks. She did not understand why. She did not know that Vincent was falling in love with her, that he was risking everything to protect her, that he was about to make a choice that would change all of their lives. She did not know that Dmitri was watching. She did not know that this act of kindness would cost them both everything. Chapter 4. 3 months. That was how long Isha lived a fractured life. By day, she was a broken girl who visited her mother in physical therapy, who helped her brother with his homework, who tried to convince her father that life was still worth living. By night, she became a hollow shell. She became property. She became Dmitri's. The penthouse was beautiful in a soulless way. Everything was expensive. Everything was cold. Dmitri had decorated it to his taste, which meant there was no warmth anywhere. The walls were all glass and steel. The furniture was all sharp corners and modern lines. It was a place designed to make a person feel like they were always being watched, always being judged, always being found wanting. And Isha was always being watched. Dmitri had cameras in every room. He monitored her constantly. He played games designed to break her mind. He would show her disturbing videos of people who had betrayed him. People who no longer had all their fingers. People who had been disfigured. People who had simply disappeared. "This could be you," he would say softly. "If you ever leave me. If you ever betray me. This will be you." The psychological warfare was worse than any physical pain. Isha began to question reality. She began to forget what the outside world even looked like. Days and nights blended together. She lost track of time. Then Vincent would appear, slipping her a phone when Dmitri was busy. She would have stolen moments to talk to her family. Her mother's voice still slurred but improving. Her brother's attempts to be brave. Her father asking if she was okay, his voice breaking as he spoke. Isha would lie. She would say everything was fine. She would say she was just working a normal job. She would say she would be home soon. Her mother always knew she was lying. But Grace, Isha's mother, had learned that sometimes love means accepting comfortable lies to protect yourself from unbearable truths. "I love you," her mother would say at the end of each call. "I love you no matter what." Those words kept Isha alive. Those words reminded her that there was still a world outside of this penthouse. But then everything changed. Dmitri discovered the phone. He found Vincent handing it to her. His reaction was not immediate violence. Instead, it was something far more terrifying. He sat Isha down and gave her a choice. "I will not kill Vincent," Dmitri said with that calm voice that meant he had already made a terrible decision. "I like Vincent. He is useful. But you will choose, Isha. You will choose which of your family members I publicly humiliate. Which member of your family do I expose? Which member do I make famous as a failure, as someone broken, as someone no one will ever respect again?" Isha's mind spiraled. Every option was unthinkable. If she chose her brother, she would destroy him as a young man, ruining his future before it even began. If she chose her father, she would break a man already shattered. If she chose her mother, she would harm a woman recovering from a stroke. Choose, Dmitri commanded. Through tears, Isha chose her father. She rationalized it in a way that saved no one. She told herself he was already broken, already had lived his life, already would not recover anyway. She chose wrong. And in choosing, she shattered something inside herself that she was not sure could ever be repaired. That night, her father became the subject of a public exposé. Videos and photos were released showing him in situations that were doctored, manipulated, twisted to make him look like a criminal. By morning, his name was ruined. His reputation was destroyed. His dignity was gone. He stopped leaving his room after that. Isha did not know that her choice was part of Dmitri's plan. She did not know that her breaking point was being engineered from the beginning. She did not know that there was much worse to come. She only knew that she had become something she hated. She had become someone capable of sacrificing her own family to survive. And that was the moment she truly began to lose hope. Chapter 5. For more months passed. Isha's body became a prison. Dmitri demanded she be available to him at all times. He touched her whenever he wanted. He controlled every aspect of her existence. She was not his wife. She was his possession. She was his captive. The only moments of peace came when Vincent was near. He would slip her water when she forgot to eat. He would leave medical supplies in the bathroom when he noticed her getting hurt. He would whisper words of comfort during Dmitri's worst moments. "This will not last forever," Vincent would say. "I promise you. This will end." But Isha did not believe him. She had stopped believing in anything. She had started planning her own death. One night, while Dmitri was at a meeting, Isha went to the bathroom and found a bottle of pills. She did not know what they were. She only knew that death would be better than this continued existence. She swallowed the entire bottle without hesitation. Then she lay down on the bathroom floor and waited to die. She was dying when Vincent found her. Her breathing was shallow. Her vision was starting to fade. The pain in her chest was immense. Vincent did not call for help. He did not scream for Dmitri. Instead, he held her head, put his fingers down her throat, and forced her to vomit. He compressed her chest over and over again, performing CPR with a desperation that suggested he was fighting for his own life, not hers. When she coughed and gasped and started breathing again, Vincent wept. He held her shaking body and cried like a man whose heart had just restarted. "I cannot let you die," he whispered into her hair. "Do you understand? I cannot let you die. I am sorry I have not saved you yet. But please, please do not leave me." Through the fog of the overdose, through the darkness, Isha heard something in his voice that she had not heard before. She heard genuine love. When she was stable enough to speak, Vincent told her everything. He was not what he appeared to be. He had never been Dmitri's man by choice. He had been trafficked as a child, forced into this organization. Years later, when he was old enough to think, he made a deal. He would work for the federal government as an undercover agent. He would infiltrate Dmitri's organization and build a case against him. "I was supposed to arrest him months ago," Vincent said, his hand holding hers. "But I could not do it, because I found you. And I realized my entire life meant nothing if I could not save you from this." Isha wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe that there was goodness in this world, that there was someone who would sacrifice for her. But Vincent had one more confession. "Dmitri knows I am an agent," Vincent said quietly. "He found out this morning. He does not plan to kill me because he wants to control me. But he is going to arrest me. He has corrupt officials who will plant evidence that I committed the crimes he committed. I will go to prison for his sins." Isha felt her heart break for a second time. "When?" she asked. "Tonight," Vincent replied. "They will come tonight." He held her through the afternoon. They did not do anything except sit together, breathing, existing in the same space while they still could. When the police arrived that evening, Vincent went quietly. He did not fight. He did not resist. He simply looked at Isha one last time and said the words that would haunt her for years to come. "I love you. That is not strategic. That is not an assignment. That is the truth." Isha watched him leave, watched him disappear into a van, watched her only light be taken away into darkness. Chapter 6. Dmitri did not punish Isha immediately. That was the terrifying part. He simply acted like nothing had happened. He came to her that evening and smiled that cold smile and asked how she was feeling. "Like you own me," she said quietly. "Exactly right," he replied. "You finally understand." What happened next was worse than any beating. Dmitri announced he was taking Isha as his wife. Not eventually. Not after time to bond. Now, he set a date for a public wedding. He wanted to announce to the world that he had possessed her, conquered her, made her his. He gave her a dress to wear. He gave her instructions for the ceremony. He made her sit with his mother, a cold woman who barely spoke, and learned to be the daughter-in-law of a man with blood on his hands. Isha tried desperately to contact her family. She was not allowed phone calls. She was not allowed letters. She was completely isolated. She did not know if her mother was still alive. She did not know if her brother had recovered from his injuries. She did not know if her father had found any reason to keep living. Then she made a decision that could not be undone. She decided to comply completely. She decided to become the perfect fiancée. She learned his preferences. She wore her hair the way he liked it. She spoke only when spoken to. She became the broken woman he wanted her to be. Dmitri, who had been waiting for her to fight him, was stunned. He interpreted her submission as acceptance. He began to relax. He began to trust her. He began to believe that he had actually won, that he had actually bent her to his will completely. It was during this time that Isha realized she was pregnant. She did not know if the father was Dmitri or Vincent. The timeline was unclear. She kept the knowledge hidden, a secret she buried so deep inside herself that she forgot it sometimes. She placed her hand on her belly and made a promise to the growing life inside her. "I will get you out," she whispered. "I will find a way. I promise you." The wedding was planned for a Saturday. The cathedral was chosen. The guest list was created. The invitations went out. Dmitri bought her a wedding ring that cost more than a house. It was beautiful and terrifying, just like everything in her life. The day before the wedding, Isha was getting ready in a private room when she heard an explosion outside. The sound was massive. The whole building shook. Alarms began to scream. Isha ran to the window and saw smoke and chaos outside the cathedral. She did not understand what was happening. She did not understand that her rescue was happening. She did not understand that Vincent had somehow managed to orchestrate a plan from inside a prison cell. She did not understand that everything she had believed about reality was about to be shattered. Chapter 7. The explosion was controlled. It was planned. It was a federal operation designed to arrest Dmitri during his most vulnerable moment, when he was surrounded by elite criminals and corrupt officials who could be arrested in one clean sweep. Federal agents stormed the cathedral. Dmitri tried to run, but he was caught within minutes. Armed officers surrounded him. Guns were pointed at his head. For the first time, Isha saw fear in his eyes. Vincent emerged from the chaos, no longer a prisoner. He was dressed in a federal agent's uniform. He was armed and powerful and free. Isha felt relief flood through her. Then confusion. Then dread. Vincent was taken to interrogation, but not before he looked at her and said, "I did not know. I swear to you, I did not know." During the investigation, documents were recovered. Computers were seized. Years of criminal activity were exposed. But something else was exposed too. Something that explained why Isha's life had been destroyed in the first place. Dmitri was not the head of this organization. His older brother Alexei was. Alexei was a federal investigator himself, someone with access to government resources and classified information. He had been running a criminal empire under the cover of his legitimate job. And it turned out that Alexei had orchestrated Dmitri's obsession with Isha. Years ago, Isha's father had discovered illegal activity in a company he was doing business with. The company was owned by Alexei's family. Isha's father had threatened to report it. Instead of dealing with her father directly, Alexei created a perfect plan. He made his younger brother obsessed with Isha. He used her as leverage. If her father cooperated, his daughter would be protected. If her father resisted, his daughter would suffer. Her entire nightmare had been orchestrated as a chess move in a game she did not even know she was playing. Isha met with federal investigators and heard this truth laid out in cold, clinical language. They explained that she had been a tool. An unwitting tool, but a tool nonetheless. Vincent was in the room when they told her. He tried to explain his own involvement. He told them he had discovered that his supervisor, Alexei, was corrupt. He had been gathering evidence. He said that he stayed undercover longer specifically because he wanted to protect Isha from what was happening. But then one of the investigators asked him a question that changed everything. "Did you know that Alexei was using her as leverage when you first started protecting her?" Vincent's silence was answer enough. He had known. He had not told her. He had made the decision to keep her in the dark to protect her, which meant he had also made the decision to become complicit in her captivity by choice rather than just circumstance. Isha looked at this man she had believed loved her, and she realized that his love, like Dmitri's, was conditional. Like Dmitri's, it was based on control. Like Dmitri's, it had destroyed her. She turned away from him and refused to speak to him again. Chapter 8. The trial process took months. Isha was deposed multiple times. She had to explain everything that had happened to her. She had to describe Dmitri's abuse in detail. She had to describe the threats against her family. She had to become a witness to her own trauma. She refused to cooperate with the prosecution until they agreed to certain conditions. Her family would receive immunity for any crimes they had been forced to commit. Marco would be released from any charges. Her father would be protected. Her mother would receive medical care and financial support. She negotiated her own suffering into a bargaining chip. During this time, she also demanded answers about her father's involvement. She wanted to know exactly how he had been manipulated. Investigators laid out the evidence. Her father had been blackmailed with photos of Marco in danger. He had been threatened with Isha's suffering. He had been told that cooperation meant safety. When she confronted her father about his choices, she expected him to be defensive. Instead, he broke down completely. "I would do it again," he said through tears. "I would betray the world to keep you safe. And the fact that I could not actually keep you safe, that my sacrifices were meaningless, that is what is destroying me." Isha held her father while he cried, and she realized that he was also a victim. They were all victims. Before the trial reached its conclusion, Isha demanded a meeting with both Dmitri and Alexei. The prosecutors were not happy about it, but she was their key witness. They allowed it. In a secure room, Isha sat across from the two brothers who had orchestrated her destruction. Alexei was cold and professional. He showed no remorse. He explained that his crimes were business decisions, that Isha was simply collateral damage in the pursuit of power and control. "You should thank me," he said coldly. "I could have ordered you killed. Instead, I simply made you useful." Isha wanted to scream. She wanted to attack him. Instead, she sat in silence and let his coldness confirm what she already knew. Evil had no apologies to give. Then she turned to Dmitri. For the first time, she saw something in his face that looked like humanity. His hands were shaking slightly. His jaw was tight. He was not looking at her with possession anymore. He was looking at her with something that might have been regret. "I want you to know something," Dmitri said quietly. "What I did to you is monstrous. What I did cannot be forgiven. But I need you to understand that my obsession with you, while it expressed itself through cruelty, was genuine. I looked at you and saw something beautiful. And instead of protecting that beauty, I destroyed it. That is my greatest sin. It was not an excuse. It was not a justification. It was simply the truth of a damaged man who had expressed his emotions through violence and control." Isha stared at him and felt nothing. No forgiveness. No hatred. Just a profound sadness for what he had become and what he had done to her. As she left that room, one of the prosecutors asked if she was all right. "No," Isha answered honestly. "But I will be." Chapter 9. The trial concluded with guilty verdicts for both brothers. Dmitri received 35 years. Alexei received a life sentence. Justice was served, though imperfectly, though not in the way the system usually worked. Vincent was called to testify about his actions. The prosecution asked him to explain why he had not immediately reported Alexei's corruption, why he had stayed undercover longer than ordered, why he had compromised his duty as an officer. Vincent's answer was simple: "Because she was more important than my career." The court did not look favorably on this admission. Charges were filed against Vincent for obstruction of justice and failure to report corruption. He faced potential prison time. Prosecutors recommended 5 years minimum. But then something unexpected happened. A victim advocacy group filed a brief in Vincent's case. They argued that Vincent's actions, while technically illegal, had saved multiple trafficking victims. They argued that his humanity should count for something. News outlets picked up the story. Public opinion shifted. The court reduced his sentence to 18 months in a minimum security facility. During the sentencing hearing, Vincent spoke directly to Isha. He did not ask for her forgiveness. He did not try to justify his choices. "I knew Alexei was corrupt," Vincent said to the judge, his eyes on Isha. "I knew he was using her as leverage. I made the choice to stay undercover and build a stronger case rather than arrest him immediately with weak evidence. That was my mistake. I let strategy override humanity. I let duty override love. I will spend the next 18 months in prison thinking about that mistake every single day. If I could undo that choice, I would. Isha felt tears stream down her face. Not because she forgave him. Not because she was ready to trust him again. But because she finally heard someone take full responsibility for what they had done, with no excuses, with full acceptance of the consequences. After the trial, Isha began to piece her life back together. She went to the hospital and visited her mother. Grace was still in rehabilitation, but she was walking now. She was speaking clearly now. She was recovering. She went to see her brother and found Marco trying to act strong, the way young men do when they have been hurt. She went to see her father and found a man who had lost everything and was learning to find reasons to keep living. And she found out that she was definitely pregnant. The tests confirmed Vincent was the father. Life had grown inside her during the darkest period of her existence. She was having a daughter. Isha began therapy. She began to process the trauma. She began to write about her experiences. She began to transform her pain into purpose. She completed her college degree. She started volunteer work at a shelter for trafficking victims. She stood on a stage one day and told her story to a room full of survivors. And when she finished, the entire room stood and applauded. 18 months after the trial ended, Vincent was released from prison. His first stop was not his apartment. It was the hospital. He walked into the room where Isha was holding their newborn daughter, and he wept. "This is our daughter?" he asked softly. "This is our daughter," Isha confirmed. "Her name is Hope." Vincent looked at the tiny human in Isha's arms, and then looked at Isha herself. "I do not deserve this," he said. "I do not deserve you. I do not deserve her." "No," Isha agreed. "You do not. But I am giving these things to you anyway. Not because you earned them, but because I have decided that love is a choice you make every single day. And I am choosing to give you another chance. But if you ever make me regret this choice, I will destroy you myself." Vincent smiled through his tears. It was the first real smile Isha had seen from him since before everything fell apart. Chapter 10. 2 years later, Isha stood on a stage speaking to 500 survivors. Behind her was a banner that read Second Chances Foundation, breaking the chains of exploitation. Her mother sat in the front row, fully recovered from her stroke. Her father beside her, having rebuilt his business with integrity. Vincent held their daughter Hope, who had his dark hair and Isha's fierce eyes. "What happened to me does not define me," Isha told the crowd. "How I responded to it defines me. I chose to survive. I chose to fight back. I chose to transform my pain into purpose." When she finished, a woman approached with her young daughter. She was trembling. "I think my daughter is being trafficked," she whispered. Isha took her hand. "You came to the right place. We will help you. You are not alone." That evening, Vincent sat with Isha on their porch. "Will you marry me?" he asked. Isha did not feel butterflies. She felt something deeper. Stability. Trust earned through years of consistent action. "Yes," she said. "But not until I am completely sure I am choosing this for me." 3 months later, they married in a small ceremony. Isha wore a simple white dress of her own choosing. As she walked down the aisle, she saw her healed family. When she reached the altar, she said words she had never expected to speak. "I have learned that love is not about completing each other. It is about two complete people choosing to walk together. Trust must be earned through consistent action. You have earned my trust. You have shown me you are capable of change and growth. So yes, I choose you. Every single day." Vincent wept as they were pronounced married. 1 year later, Isha published her book. She detailed everything. The abuse. The humiliation. Her darkest thoughts. It became a bestseller. Every penny went to her foundation. 5 years after the trial, Isha sat in a courtroom watching a young trafficking victim testify against her abuser. This girl reminded Isha of herself. Terrified but brave. After the guilty verdict, the girl's mother approached Isha with tears streaming down her face. "Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing my daughter there is life after this." Isha held her and said, "Your daughter will survive this. She will heal. She will build a beautiful life. Because she is strong. Because she is brave. And because she is not alone." On a cold winter evening, Vincent came home with a small silver box. Inside was a key. "It is to your new office," Vincent said. "Your foundation is opening a prevention division in schools. I am so proud of you." Isha looked at this man who had become her partner in healing. "Thank you for believing in me when I did not believe in myself. I will always believe in you, Vincent replied, because I have seen your strength. I have seen what you are capable of. And in that moment, Isha realized her story was not just about survival. It was about transformation. It was about taking the worst of what humans are capable of and turning it into the best. It was about real love. The kind that respects freedom. The kind that celebrates growth. The kind that says I choose you every single day. As she held the key, Isha made a final promise. She would remember where she came from. She would remember the pain. She would remember the girl who almost died in a bathroom. And she would use that memory to fuel her mission. She would use it to help others escape. She would prove that even in the darkest moments, there is always a way forward. Her strength was not just for her. It was for the thousands still trapped. It was a beacon. It was proof that healing was possible. As snow fell outside, Isha held her daughter close and whispered words her mother had once whispered to her. I love you no matter what, and everything is going to be okay. This time she believed it. This time it was true. Thank you for watching. If you made it through this entire story, you are a true fan, and I am so grateful for you. This story is dedicated to every survivor out there who is still fighting. You are not alone. Your pain matters. Your survival matters. If you or someone you know is being trafficked or exploited, please reach out for help. There are organizations waiting to help you. Please subscribe to this channel for more stories of survival, strength, and second chances. And please share this story with someone you care about, because stories like this save lives. Stay strong. Stay safe. And remember, you deserve love that respects you. You deserve healing. You deserve a future.